Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Friday Night SmackDown, and we are live from Cleveland, Ohio. And ladies and gentlemen, we have ourselves quite a stacked show here tonight. We have ourselves an Intercontinental Championship match in the main event between Rey Mysterio and LA Knight. But to kick us off tonight, Sami Zayn has called out the Celtic Warrior Sheamus, who will be challenging the World Heavyweight Champion Drew McIntyre. But of course, that's next week. We're talking about right now, tonight, as we are kicking things off tonight with Sami Zayn versus the Celtic Warrior, as Drew McIntyre enters the building here tonight. Well, tension's at an all-time high between McIntyre and Cena. And of course, those two will meet in Atlanta, Georgia at the Royal Rumble next week for the World Heavyweight Championship. But right now, it's fight night. Well, it was made official as of last week. Sheamus is officially now a part of Friday Night SmackDown. Of course, there was the trade between Raw and SmackDown for Sheamus and the Viper, Randy Orton, who is now a part of Monday Night Raw. But ever since Sheamus has joined the Blue Brand, Drew McIntyre has become his number one target. Well, you know, this man has to be absolutely dreading the thought of the Royal Rumble next week. Of course, Sami Zayn was a part of the losing team at War Games. And now because of that, Sami Zayn and the rest of the members of Team SmackDown will be entering at lower entry numbers in the Rumble, which means the chances of Sami Zayn winning the Royal Rumble are very low statistically. But tonight, Zayn wants to prove, even if the odds are very much against him, he is still going to fight like hell to prove all the doubters wrong. He's got a tall task ahead of him against a motivated Celtic Warrior here tonight to kick off SmackDown. Both these two locking up in the center of the ring. We saw Sheamus get his opportunity at the World Heavyweight Championship at the Castle back in Dublin, Ireland just about a month ago. Now look at this. Sheamus with the Alabama Slam. Sheamus, of course, not successful in that match, coming up just short against Drew McIntyre. But he has his eyes set on a rematch, and he is going to get his wish next week. But how interesting would it be if Sami Zayn was to knock off Sheamus a week before his big match with Drew McIntyre? Sheamus looking to not let that happen as he buries the elbows into the chest of Zayn. Now Zayn getting sent right into the corner. And now Sheamus buries him with a clothesline. And in case if you missed last week, tensions at an all-time high between McIntyre and Cena. McIntyre would call out Cena, challenging him to a match at the Royal Rumble, in which Cena would accept. Sheamus would attack McIntyre afterwards. But when McIntyre was trying to put him down, John Cena would end up eating an accidental Claymore. And you heard McIntyre say last week was an accident. It almost felt like from the tone in Cena's voice, it sounds like he didn't take it that way. You know, McIntyre has his eyes on this match and a fallaway slam there by the Celtic Warrior. You know, McIntyre has his eyes set on this match. And if you're Sheamus, you gotta figure that's the case. McIntyre cannot be that far behind. As Zayn gets himself back in the ring here. Now look at this, perhaps a roll-up attempt here. And it is successful. And a 2 count there, and Sheamus rolls back through. And Zayn kicking out before 1 count. The Royal Rumble is etching closer and closer by the week. And what a slam there by Sheamus. And keep in mind, both of these two in the Royal Rumble next week. As I mentioned before, Sami Zayn. And hold on a second. And a drop kick there in the corner. Takes down Sheamus. Of course, as I mentioned before, at the start of the show, Sami Zayn will be entering at the Rumble in a lower entry spot, of which nobody knows. Not even Zayn knows. All we know is that Zayn will be entering rather early into a Royal Rumble, which lowers his chances. And then, well, there's this whole situation with Sheamus. Let's say Sheamus goes on to win the World Heavyweight Championship next week. We could be potentially seeing John Cena versus Sheamus at the Royal Rumble next week. Of course, there's a lot of history there. Of course, Sheamus, first time ever winning the WWE Championship, was against John Cena in a tables match at TLC. As Sheamus misses with that dive, Zayn able to evade. Now Zayn, Blue Thunder Bomb for the win here against the Celtic Warrior. For the upset, no. And kick out at 2. Spoke to Sheamus recently. He said this is the most motivated he has felt in a very long time. Felt like he was starting to flounder a bit on Raw. And with him being on SmackDown now, he feels like his opportunities have opened up significantly more. I suppose that's what happens when you go after the World Heavyweight Championship, and Sami Zayn getting brought down there the hard way. Now Sheamus lighting up Zayn's chest with some chops. Now perhaps thinking some white noise here. We saw McIntyre hit Sheamus with this last week. The white noise connects. And you gotta think it's gotta be only a matter of time here at this point. Now Zayn sent off the ropes. And oh, look at this, Zayn. Off the ropes, springboard dropkick takes down Sheamus. No, Sheamus. And that just pissed off the Irishman. And now Sheamus just waiting patiently for Zayn, a brogue kick. And that's gotta be it. That caught Zayn right on the button. No, Zayn kicking out at 2. That might have been a dumb decision on the part of Sami Zayn. Why would you want to make Sheamus even more angry? And a gut buster. Zayn's got to be running on just basic instinct at this point, and another brogue kick, and that's got to do it. Now cover here by Sheamus. And thanks for coming, Sami Zayn. statement win by Sheamus heading into next week when he will take on the World Heavyweight Champion, Drew McIntyre. You gotta imagine McIntyre was watching that match. And speaking of which, don't turn around, Sheamus. You might not like what you see. And a Claymore kick by McIntyre puts down Sheamus. McIntyre sending a message ahead of next week. No, wait a second, Cena. No, wait a second. Attitude adjustment by Cena. This business, it is survival of the fittest. Those the words of John Cena. Do not take me lightly, says John Cena. Well, last week we saw the Dissension dethrone Los Garza to become the new SmackDown Tag Team Champions, of course. Kenny Omega, Damian Priest, your new SmackDown Tag Team Champions. But right now, the Ozilla is in the house, and he is not alone. Logan Paul in the building tonight, in the corner of Big Bronson Reed. Of course, we've been talking about next week. Of course, next week, the go-home episode of SmackDown before Royal Rumble Saturday. That night, we will see Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus, as I said at the start of the show. However, another intriguing match on there. Andre Chase and Chase U will be going up against Logan Paul and Bronson Reed. And what is set to be the bookend of this rivalry. Last time we saw Nathan Frazier in action was at Survivor Series, where he went one-on-one with Logan Paul in a losing effort. That match was a certified banger, but right now, Nathan Frazier going up against someone who is even bigger and Big Bronson Reed. You almost have to wonder what the mindset of Frazier was accepting a match like this with someone twice his size, but right now, so far Frazier starting things off, putting Reed on the ropes here a little bit. Look at Frazier. Snapmare here has the Big Oz in a chokehold here. Ozilla not able to get out of the blocks early on here. Frazier has this hold locked in tight and a knee right to the spine. Frazier, who saw this coming? Nathan Frazier starting off this match hot and a springboard moonsault off the top rope. Right now, Frazier not letting Bronson Reed get a chance to breathe here. And oh no. Frazier missing with that springboard dropkick, and now You might want to look out, Frazier. Oh, man. Frazier getting sent right into the turnbuckle, but Reed is not done just yet, and again. Getting sent back first right into the turnbuckle. And now Reed with a Scioto suplex. And now Frazier might be in some serious trouble. Because after just 3 moves, Bronson Reed has taken full control of this match. And hey, referee, you might want to watch Logan Paul. And right now, Bronson Reed distracted by Thea Hale and Duke Hudson. Or was it just enough? Frazier taking advantage of that distraction. Rolls up the big man and a 2 count. Reed just gets the shoulder up. How insane of an upset would that be? A true David versus Goliath match here on SmackDown. As Frazier trying to overpower the big man. And right now, he's shockingly hanging in there with Reed at the moment. Now look at Frazier. Oh my God. Takes down the big man with a moonsault. And Reed doesn't know what to think here. Reed was clearly not expecting this fight out of Nathan Frazier tonight. And drops Frazier with a DDT. After getting a chance to breathe here. Reed might have given himself a chance to lock in here. Because, oh my God. Bonsai drop from Bronson Reed. And you see on the other side, I don't know if you saw it, Logan Paul exposing that turnbuckle. Charles Robinson hasn't seen it yet. And a kick out of 1 there by Frazier, who is trying to take the fight to the big man here and takes him down with a leaping clothesline. Now Frazier with a standing moonsault to the big man. Frazier right now has Reed on his heels, grabbing him by his hair. Now look at this, a cross-face chicken wing being applied to Bronson Reed. Reed might be in some trouble here. Frazier's got this thing locked in deep, or so I thought. Reed able to escape, and now Charles Robinson finally seeing the exposed turnbuckle that was exposed by Logan Paul earlier. As Reed takes control of this match for the time being. Frazier trying to stay in this one, trading shots with the big Auszilla. Now Reed right now winning that exchange. And Frazier can only last so long. That exchange of strikes. And now wait a second, look at Frazier answers back with a sling blade and another moonsault off the top. Frazier knows he is in a fight tonight, and now Frazier up to the top rope as Reed gets back up on the floor. And now look out, a missile drop kick. Takes out Bronson Reed. Reed might be in some trouble as Hudson and Hale cheering on their boy. And speaking of Thea Hale, hold on a second. And a 2 count there as Reed kicks out. Thea Hale will be in action next week as she will face the winner of tonight's triple threat match for the inaugural Women's Intercontinental Championship. Of course, that match is still to come here tonight. And now look at this. Frazier with an interaction. Logan Paul running his mouth as he takes off that turnbuckle pad once again that Charles Robinson just fixed. But I don't think Paul gives a damn. And oh my God, another bonsai drop. And the ribs of Frazier, I don't know how they're not fractured at this point. And oh my God. Nothing like an Aussie ass right to the face. And now like a tsunami from Bronson Reed, and that's it. Thanks for coming, Nathan Frazier. It was a hell of an effort. But the inevitable has happened. Momentum on the side of Team Maverick heading into next week with their clash with Chase U as Logan Paul celebrates On the outside, no, wait a second. Andre Chase attacking Logan Paul from behind. Andre Chase has had enough of the shenanigans of Logan Paul. Andre Chase going after Paul, and look at this, Paul just running. And Paul escaping, but he has nowhere to go next week. An extremely confident megastar heading into our main event tonight. As we get ready for our final women's triple threat here on SmackDown. Well, on Monday Night Raw, it has been made official as of this past week. The matchup has been set. It will be Alexa Bliss versus Charlotte Flair for the Women's United States Championship. And as of right now, here on SmackDown, Thea Hale getting an upset victory. The biggest upset victory I have ever seen here in Universe Mode, of which there have been a few. But Thea Hale of Chase U is waiting in the wings for the winner of this match. And of course, that match will happen next week, and it will be for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. And I gotta be honest, I think truly all three of these women are worthy of being in that position. But unfortunately, only one can earn the opportunity to go on and face Thea Hale for the Intercontinental Championship next week. We saw Candice LeRae in action just a couple weeks ago when she took on Liv Morgan in Dublin, Ireland. An impressive showing to say the least, but Miss LeRae coming up just short. But she was able to put on a memorable performance. That's for damn sure. Did she bring it? Yes, she brought it back. The TCB tank has made its grand return. Oh, look out. It has been a while since we have seen Shotzi in action. But she has been on an upward trajectory here on SmackDown since the very beginning. And how chaotic would it be if Shotzi was to add her name to the possible list of contenders for the Women's Intercontinental Championship? Look at that tank, man. That is a dangerous weapon. But at the same time, it might just be the coolest, most dangerous weapon I have ever seen in my life. course, as I stated before, only one of these women is going on to fight for the Women's Intercontinental Championship next week. Will it be Candice LeRae? Will it be Roxanne Perez? Or will it be Shotzi? We're about to find out as Shotzi gets dropped by an elbow by Candice LeRae, who's starting off this match hot with this as she hits Roxanne Perez with a Samoan drop, and now Shotzi with an enziguri dropping LeRae. And an interesting story beat here. We've seen a partnership almost between Perez and Shotzi. They have formed a friendship ever since they became a part of the same team on War Games, of which they were successful. But very quickly, oh my god, Perez getting absolutely dumped on the top of her head. But as you can see, very quickly, friendship has gone out the door, all for a chance to go after the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Next week is shaping up to be extremely historic, because we will find out just who the first Women's United States Championship will be. Very first, excuse me, I got extremely tongue-tied there. The very first Women's United States Champion will be over on Raw, and then we will find out who the very first Women's Intercontinental Champion will be over on SmackDown. I'll get there. As right now, Perez and Candice LeRae exchanging strikes on the outside. Shotzi taking out LeRae. There's now LeRae and Perez both getting back into the ring here now. Shotzi and up to the top rope, takes out Perez. Top rope axe handle. Now Shotzi hooks the leg of LeRae. Doesn't even allow a 1 count. Shotzi has had the back of Perez for months. But it seems like both women understand that there are bigger stakes in this match. Friendship, partnership, it can wait. It can be thrown out the window for tonight. As LeRae with a slam to Shotzi there. Now look at this, Perez with a steel chair, and well, LeRae knocking the chair out of the hands of Perez. Because now LeRae getting sent. Oh man, Perez getting picked off by a kick right to the head there. Perez getting set down there by Shotzi, and now LeRae looking to take advantage with a hip toss. Takes down Shotzi, and now looking for the cover here to move on to next week to face Thea Hale for the Women's Intercontinental Championship, and Perez able to break things up. That's the annoying, the tedious part about being in a triple threat match. You always have to watch your back. No pinfall is safe because you're always at risk of getting broke up by the third man, or in this case, the third woman in the matchup, as Perez, or excuse me, LeRae shuts Shotzi down right on her face. And now a kendo stick right across the abdomen of Shotzi, and now LeRae setting down Perez. LeRae going off with his kendo stick right now. Now, oh man. The backs of Perez and LeRae connecting there. Now LeRae has taken full control of this match right now. Now, oh man. Enziguri drops LeRae. Now look at Perez. Perez dropping Shotzi with a Deo's press. Of course, ever since Survivor Series, Roxanne Perez has been building momentum here on SmackDown. She has been on the upward trajectory, picking up some big wins. And you gotta think, Adding the Women's Intercontinental Championship to that list would be just as sweet, if not even more sweet, as Perez gets taken down with a clothesline by Shotzi. Now Perez giving chase to LeRae. Now, oh, look at this. Gargano escape. Gargano escape. Or, well, at least it looked like it was going to be. Now Shotzi gets countered and dropped on her face. Now Perez, Roxanne Perez with Pop Rocks, takes out... No. I was going to say takes out Candice LeRae, but LeRae getting the shoulder up at 2. Perez getting set down. Now Shotzi, who is she going to go after here? And she's going to go after Candice LeRae. Top rope, Banzai dropping a senton off the ropes. Cover here by Shotzi to advance to next week. And again, Perez playing defense. And a neck breaker to Shotzi. This has been a very evenly contested triple threat match up to this point. No one has had the clear advantage. Well, I mean, Candice LeRae seemed like she had the advantage there for a little bit. But how quickly the tides have turned in this match. Is now Shotzi. Rolls up Perez here. And a kick out at 1. That was an interesting move by Candice LeRae. Now, oh, look at that. Code breaker there by Shotzi. Now, like, top rope splash to LeRae. And she got all of that cover here. And again, Perez playing defense. Roxanne Perez has been playing defense almost this entire match. And oh, man. Looking like Myles Garrett out there from the Cleveland Browns, playing as well a defense as she is. Now look at Perez. Impaler DDT takes out Shotzi. But now LeRae stirring here. Takes out Perez. Now perhaps. Look out. Springboard dropkick. Perhaps Candice LeRae looking to reap the benefits as Perez kicks out at 2. I meant to say Shotzi there. Now LeRae looking to take advantage here as Shotzi misses with a knee. Perez goes after Shotzi. And now look at this. What is LeRae going for here? And oh man, Perez getting her head stomped in by Candice LeRae as LeRae eats a knee for her troubles. And Perez might be out. Perez hasn't moved since getting her head stomped in. You can see the wheels in the head turning for Shotzi. For as crazy as she is, that is a rarity. Now Perez getting set down. Now look at this. What is... Oh, man. Candice LeRae getting dropped with a DDT, and again Perez. If we were counting sacks here, this would be sack number 4 for Roxanne Perez if she was playing linebacker. Pretty sure that's MVP caliber. That's an MVP caliber performance on the defensive side of the ball. That's football. This is pro wrestling, damn it. And it is pretty damn good if I do say so myself. And another DDT to put away Candice LeRae. And no, Candice LeRae gets the shoulder up at 2.5. Now Shotzi's got to make a decision. Takes out Perez. Shotzi saw Perez out of the corner of her eye. Takes her out. And how's this for smart? Goes right after Candice LeRae once again rolls her up. And Shotzi advances to next week. The match has been set. It will be Shotzi versus Thea Hale next week for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. What a night next week is shaping up to be. Well, ladies and gentlemen, can it be here already? The Royal Rumble is fastly approaching, and of course, Royal Rumble Saturday. It will be the Women's Royal Rumble main eventing the show, and then of course, on top of that, we will be seeing Drew McIntyre defend the World Heavyweight Championship against John Cena. We saw tempers flare between those two earlier tonight, and then we get to Royal Rumble Sunday, in which, kicking off the show, it will be the men's Royal Rumble match. And then of course in the main event it will be Crash Out Jey Uso taking on Roman Reigns for the WWE Championship. And that all goes down live in Atlanta, Georgia at the Royal Rumble. But before we can get to that, our last stop before the Royal Rumble, we will have a very historic night, as for the first time ever, Thea Hale will take on Shotzi for the inaugural Women's Intercontinental Championship. And that's not all, as Chase U looks to end this rivalry with Logan Paul once and for all, as Chase U takes on Team Maverick for control of Chase University. And that's not all. For the World Heavyweight Championship, Drew McIntyre puts on a performance against Sheamus before his match with John Cena and Royal Rumble Saturday. Speaking of championship matches, we've been talking about the Women's Intercontinental Championship, but now it's time for the Men's Intercontinental Championship. Yeah! LA Knight knocking off The Miz last week, in which afterwards he would challenge Rey Mysterio to a match for his newly won Intercontinental Championship. And the swagger that LA Knight is carrying into this match is absolutely immeasurable. But let us not forget just who LA Knight is going up against here tonight. A living legend, the GOAT of all goats, in Rey Mysterio, the greatest luchador to ever lace up a pair of boots. Do not let Rey Mysterio fool you. He has done this a time or two. Of course, Rey Mysterio knocking off Dominic Mysterio at Clash at the Castle to become the brand new Intercontinental Champion. And speaking of Dominic, hey, listen, I've been trying to tell you, all right? There is something up with Dominic Mysterio and Liv Morgan. I'm telling you. And I think tonight has just cemented that. But while Dominic has got girl drama to worry about, his father, Rey Mysterio, is in our main event tonight. And Mysterio, such a proud champion, willing to defend it against anyone, anytime, anywhere. Of course, Intercontinental Championship has been held by numerous legends. Pat Patterson, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Bret Hart, The Rock, Triple H, Rey Mysterio a time or two. Chris Jericho. Just to name a few. And LA Knight looking to add his name to that list of names. The referee for this match, Charles Robinson. He's had a busy night tonight. Here we go, Intercontinental Championship match underway in our main event as Mysterio takes out the knees of Knight early on. You cannot sleep on Rey Mysterio. That is the biggest mistake that anyone can make when going up against the Luchador. Do not let his size fool you. They call Rey Mysterio the GOAT for a reason. And now, oh my... Well, we heard LA Knight say that he respects the hell out of Rey Mysterio. But that throw right there, just throwing Mysterio across the ring. Almost like a child. But Knight paying for it with a DDT. Now look at this. Mysterio and Knight exchanging blows here, going back and forth. No, just an open hand slap right across the face by Mysterio. And LA Knight not taking that kindly, but taking out the knees of Knight again does Mysterio. And now, oh man, off the ropes. LA Knight not allowing that to happen. We've seen LA Knight on the rise, of course. LA Knight, yeah, will be in the Rumble next week, but he will suffer the same fate as Sami Zayn, as he will also be entering lower in the Rumble match due to the losing efforts of him and the rest of his team at Survivor Series War Games. And uh-oh, what the hell is this? Oh, Snake Eyes. Rey Mysterio catching all of that. Now, LA Knight stomping away on the Intercontinental Champion. Now Knight heading up to the top rope. We don't see this very often. Now Knight hitting that top rope axe handle. Takes down the champ. Is it enough to crown a new Intercontinental Champion? No. Royal Rumble fastly approaching. And as I said before, can it just get here already? This is my favorite time of the year. Rumble season. Because not only is the Royal Rumble on the horizon, but ladies and gentlemen, we are on the road to WrestleMania London, which is just 20 nights away. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that is correct. I believe it is 20 episodes away. And it is fast approaching, ladies and gentlemen. So many things can happen. So many things can change within the time from now to night 3 of WrestleMania London. And now look at that. Top rope double foot stomp for Rey Mysterio to put away the megastar. And is it enough? No, just barely. LA Knight kicking out at 2.5. Knight still very much in this thing. But for how much longer? Mysterio head up to the second rope and a reverse Hurricane Rana. Takes out LA Knight. Now look at Knight here. Hangs up Mysterio on the top rope. Knight was taken down, but not for long. Now Knight with a mega star elbow. Is enough to put away Mysterio. Oh, and a 2 count, no. Mysterio putting on an absolute banger with his son at Clash at the Castle, where he would knock off his son to become the brand new Intercontinental Champion. Now look at Mysterio setting up for a 619 here, looking to dial up the numbers. And now Mysterio with a 619, looking to put away LA Knight. And now wait a second, oh what the hell? What the Finn Balor? Well, this match is going to end in a disqualification. We heard Balor say, "You come at the Prince, you best not miss." He was given his marching orders by Kenny Omega at the start of the show. Now Balor interrupting this match, setting his eyes on the Intercontinental Championship, I imagine. Now Balor heading up to the top rope and a coup de grace to LA Knight. Finn Balor making his intentions clear as the dissension continues to run Friday Night SmackDown.